Hey, thanks for watching. If you're here, hopefully it's because you just finished watching episode 1 of my No Name Racing series. If you haven't seen episode 1 yet, I highly recommend you go check that out and then come back and finish watching this video, because in this video I'll be going over everything that went wrong in episode 1 and how I plan on improving it in the future. It's going to be a boring video if this dialogue isn't your thing. But the key to making these racing videos work is going to be right here in these next few videos. I need feedback. I need lots of feedback from you, the viewer. Help me improve on what I'm trying to do. I have a vision on what I want to do, but you might have a different idea of what the audience wants to see. So to get into it, episode 1, I had Jason and Daniel come out and put their trucks head to head against each other. And, I really wanted a close matchup, because being at a public drag strip, I don't have the luxury of being able to do roller races or rolling starts. Getting them, say, a truck length head start. Now, I admit I did not approach the track owners or management and ask if any of that stuff was going to be okay. We just showed up, played by the rules, and best we could do was give one person the hit. So the slower truck ended up being Daniel inside his GMC 1500. And so, we did what we could to try to give it more of an even matchup, so that, I guess you could say, bracket style racing. By the time Daniel got to the track, then Jason would be neck and neck. That's what kind of race I wanted. Not how it played out, which is fine. In the future, hopefully I can get some closer matchups, or give those truck length or car length or rolling starts, whatever the slower car or truck needs to try to make it a photo finish there on the race. But that's going to be a growing pain for this, because again, I'm just a little 205 Motorsports, and I don't have the money to rent a track right now. So I'm just going to be showing up and playing by the rules, and then hopefully the time comes where it is profitable to rent a track or runway, whatever it may be. But to get into the biggest downfall of episode 1, I'm trying to do a pretty big production here all by myself, solo. I had a GoPro downrange on the track, and I wanted a second GoPro, facing right across the finish line for that angle. I really want that angle, but because I had to be, at the starting line, then there's going to be a lot of running back and forth. I just wanted to save myself some running. Again, I'm only one person. I had one camera on the side of Daniel's GMC, because every time we would get lined up, then management would hold us up, and they'd prep the track, which is fine. Jason and Daniel, I don't think they needed any prep. No prep race would have been fine. But we raced a total of 3 times. All 3 times, and they had us hold while they prepped the track. But yeah, the biggest thing is just that I'm trying to do a lot of stuff all by myself. I have 2 GoPros. I have my DJI Pocket 3, and I have my iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I had a GoPro on a truck. I had a GoPro facing, it was kind of mid-track, facing toward the starting line. I was getting cinematic footage on my DJI, and then once they did their burnouts and as they were trying to get staged, I'd set my DJI on some center blocks facing the tree, and it's wide enough angle where I can get a little bit of both trucks in the one shot. And then I would go to my iPhone because I mean it has some pretty good magnification, and I wanted to get, the idea was to get off to the side but in front of the trucks and get that viewpoint of having the front of the trucks and then zooming in as they, you know, go down the 8th mile track. First race, I didn't communicate where I wanted to stand, so I get my one camera sat down, and I'm trying to get off to the side, and I'm not even set in place yet, and they're leaving the line. I haven't even hit record yet, so that was an oops on my part. I thought that I clarified where I wanted to be, but to be honest with you, the next 2 times I still wasn't set. But you know, I don't blame Jason and Daniel on that part. I just wasn't set, and you know, they're focused on racing. But you know, if in the future, what will help tremendously, what I'm working on, is, you know, getting some friends to come out to the track with me to help. You know, it would be nice to have 2 people helping me out. One person down toward the finish line, getting that viewpoint, and one person where I wanted to stand at, and that way I can focus on getting the cinematic footage that I want, because I feel like just pointing and shooting the trucks as they go down the track will be the easy part, and I know what I want cinematically, so you know, I want to handle that. And so let me get to some more talking points. Another challenge we dealt with was, you know, again, a public track, so you got other people there testing, so it was a noisy environment. About every time we would go to start filming, like a interview portion, then somebody would crank up and, you know, be revving, and you know, they're race cars, so they're loud. But I will say that I'm using the DJI Mic 2s, and they did a pretty good job canceling that background noise. So that is definitely a challenge that we're going to have to deal with for a little while. But I think we'll be okay there as long as we can there in person, you know, deal with it. Another thing, like I said, you know, having all the waiting, because we kept getting stopped so they could prep the track. But you know, you also had other people racing, so you had people in line. I'd have to wait our turn patiently. And the big thing with that was just that got there about 2 o'clock. They closed at 5. Probably didn't start. Well, I think I got there I got there at 2 o'clock. Probably didn't start recording until 3 o'clock, and I just, you know, felt the time crunch. So having to wait and this and that, just eating up the time. Got to work on time management, but you know, you watching the video, you won't see any of that. But I do feel the pressure. Heck, I was feeling the pressure the day before, because I really want this to go well. So I just had a lot of pressure on me. The entire time I made a list of you know, get there, get set up, get cinematic footage of this truck, do interview. I had like the whole day planned out so that had a list I could look at, make sure I wasn't forgetting anything. And when I'm talking, doing the interview, I'm just thinking, what's next? Forgetting anything? What could I be? Really, it's hard to focus on what they're saying and what I want to say, because this, again, so much pressure, because I got to put cameras over here, I got to hit record, because again, I had a GoPro on Daniel's truck. The first race I forgot to hit record. Might have turned off on its own. That's why I didn't hit record. I don't really know. I just know that I don't have race number 1 from that POV. Race 2, I remembered to hit record. Race 3, at some point whenever I stopped the recording, because we was waiting for them to prep the track, somehow it got set to photo mode. So as I'm turning it off, turning it back on, like as in hitting record, stopping the recording, then I'm actually just taking a picture. So I don't have video from the third race from that POV either. So, just a lot of things, a lot of moving parts going on, and it's hard for me to focus on one thing because there's so many other things going on. So the dialogue in the video, I'm checked out, to be honest with you, because I'm just thinking of a million different things. So as I get some help to take some of the load off of me, the dialogue will definitely improve over time. But that's some of the reasoning as to why the dialogue is not that great in episode 1. To get into some of the name choices for this video series, I'm not going to beat around the bush. As I'm trying to tell people about what I'm trying to do, then I name drop Hoonigan series, this versus that. They have a great thing going. I'll admit that as they have lost cast members, it's not that interesting for me, and I've heard that from a lot of people. But I won't say that I'm trying to compete with them. They're over in California doing their own thing. They have the off-road series going also. So, I'm just trying to do something similar to that over here in Alabama, and hopefully cars from the surrounding area, the southeast in general, wants to get involved. I'm sure it'll be a while before that happens. Later in time, though, that's where I'd like to see it go, is this people from all over the southeast and more coming out and want to be a part of this. Where's my name list? I don't know. But because this is in Alabama, the one thing I'm thinking is the Southern Showdown, or the Showdown down south, variation on that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I was trying to think of something similar to this versus that. One thing I thought of was Go Big or Go Home, but I'm leaning more toward either the Southern Showdown or the Showdown down south. Leave a comment down below. Again, I need feedback. What do you like? If you have an idea that you'd like to see me use, drop a comment down below. Track choices. Again, that, as you saw in the video, that race was at a track called Bayleton, the Good Time. Episode 2 is not filmed yet. I do have the competitors lined up. Just got to find a time to go and film it, and a track that is open, preferably on a Saturday, because I work Sundays. But Lassiter Mountain, that's somewhat of a local track to me. They do their test and tune on Sunday. I could get off on a Sunday. I would have to switch, have somebody come in and work for me. I'll do whatever it takes for me to get out there and make it happen. But it would be a lot easier for me just to do it on a Saturday. But long term, I think I'd prefer to do it at Alabama International Dragway in Steele, Alabama. It is a quarter-mile drag strip. The thing with the eighth mile is, like, I am basing this off of this versus that, and how they do it. They do a race to 1,000 foot. You have the option to do it a race to 500 foot. Well, a quarter-mile drag strip that covers your 1,000 foot, covers 500 foot. You could race to eighth mile if you want to. You have options there. I don't want to. Some people build a car for a quarter mile. Some people build a car for the street, for roller racing. At Steel, then Streetcar Takeover, they have hosted that event there. They've allowed roller racing. So what I'm thinking is that when the time comes to where I can pay out some money to host a day of racing there, to film episodes, then I can do roller races there. We can race to an eighth mile if we want to. We do the full quarter. Could shorten it down to 1,000 foot, 500 foot. With a quarter mile track, we have a lot of options. With an eighth mile track, kind of limited to just eighth mile, and probably not going to do any rolling starts there. So Lasseter Mountain, or Steel, it's about an hour and a half away from me, but I think it's a good location for about everybody. But again, I need some feedback. You also have another quarter mile track in Alabama, down in Montgomery. That's about probably closer to 2 hours from me, but probably a little too far for the guys in North Alabama. But then this my gear. I know I don't have the best gear. I have a GoPro Hero 6, a Hero 8, iPhone, and my DJI. They are good for right here for me to the camera. So that's why angles are my friend right now. I want cameras pointed down the track. I want a camera down the track pointed toward the starting line. I want me off to the side. I want cameras on the trucks. I need lots of angles for right now. In the future, when finances allow it, I'd like to get a camcorder with a good optical zoom, a couple camcorders, one for where I wanted to be at, standing in front of the trucks off to the side, and then one down the track, pointed like right before standing right before the finish line. I have it in my head what angles I want, plus the action cameras on the trucks, probably a couple 360 cameras on each vehicle, like a 360 camera for each vehicle, plus an action camera inside the truck or cars, whatever it may be. I want lots of angles. That's how Hoonigan does it, and I really like how they're doing the angles, and I like it. I think that they've been successful with it, and why not try to mimic it? And I've already covered this. The last thing I can do to make these videos better is just get some people involved. I need help behind the camera, but like this versus that, like Hoonigan does it, I want more people involved in front of the camera. I want somebody to, say me interview a guy, somebody else interview a guy. One thing I did not do in episode 1 is I didn't give a prediction. One reason is I already knew what their times were, and I knew that there was a bigger gap than what I wanted, so I already knew the outcome, most likely what it would be. So I didn't give a prediction in episode 1. In the future, I want to be as clueless as possible and find out everything in the moment. So giving a prediction is definitely something that we could do. And I want more people involved to just make it entertaining for you, the viewer, because listening to me and only me, it ain't fun. I know that. But, we're already at 20 minutes, so I'm going to cut it here. Again, please leave a comment down below on how I can improve this series. And again, episode 2 and episode 3, actually, I have the competitors lined up. Just got to find a time and place to do it. I'm looking forward to it. I hope that you're excited about this as a viewer. If you're in the Alabama area and you want to be involved, then hit me up, leave a comment down below. You can find me on my Facebook page, Instagram page. I'll have all the links down below on how you can reach me. I appreciate you watching, and until next time, I'm out of here.